For 358 years, the Guardian had stood motionless in the heart of Lurkan, a city that had long since been claimed by time and silence. Towering over the cracked streets and moss-covered buildings, it was impossible to ignore. Its body was made of metal no human hand could forge today, and its design seemed almost alive, as if it were a creature frozen mid-step, rather than a machine built of circuits and steel. Generations of scholars, scientists and explorers had attempted to restart the Guardian. The Vorai, the ancient civilization who had built it, were long gone. Their reasons for creating the Guardian were a mystery, their knowledge buried in ruins scattered across the galaxy. And yet this single machine had endured, unyielding and impenetrable, a silent sentinel guarding secrets that had been lost to time. The Galactic Council had long ago declared it a relic, a monument to a civilization no one truly understood. Many considered the Guardian a dead machine, a test that no living mind could pass. Alien civilizations sent teams equipped with advanced scanners, quantum analyzers, and the most precise tools imaginable. Each attempt ended in frustration. Sparks flew, alarms tripped, and circuits fried, but the Guardian remained dormant. Despite the warnings and dismissals, humanity had arrived. Earth had joined the galactic stage only a few centuries ago, bringing with it a species that was young, reckless, and determined. Where older civilizations approached the galaxy with caution, humans charged forward with curiosity and courage. It was this curiosity that sent Dr. Elias Trent, a young and unorthodox human scientist, to the Guardian's chamber. Dr. Trent did not see the Guardian as an invincible monument. He saw it as a puzzle, a machine that had simply waited too long for someone to understand it. When he first stepped into the chamber, he was struck by its sheer scale. The Guardian towered over him, its body extending high into the dome of the ancient city. Faded alien symbols covered its frame, glowing faintly as though powered by some energy still lingering within. "Fascinating," Dr. Trent murmured. "They built you to last, but they underestimated the one species that could wake you." Alien researchers accompanying the mission glanced at him, their expressions a mixture of skepticism and amusement. "Do you really think a human can do what millions before you have failed to accomplish?" one asked in a tone dripping with condescension. Dr. Trent smiled. "I don't think. I observe." He began his inspection carefully. Unlike the aliens who relied on technology to solve problems, Dr. Trent touched the Guardian. He ran his hands over its surface, feeling the vibrations, the faint hum of energy beneath its armor. The alien scholars scoffed at his methods. Their devices could detect quantum anomalies, energy flows, and resonance patterns. Yet Dr. Trent relied on intuition, on a human instinct honed by years of studying both machines and people. Hours passed. The alien teams recorded data and ran calculations, all of which led nowhere. Dr. Trent, meanwhile, continued his examination, speaking quietly to the Guardian as if it were alive. "I can hear you," he said, his voice echoing in the vast chamber. "You're waiting, just like everyone said, but you're not broken. You're asleep." By the end of the first day, the aliens were ready to give up. "This is pointless," one muttered. "No living mind can awaken it." Dr. Trent ignored them. He had learned to trust what his senses told him, not what others said. Night fell, and the chamber was bathed in a soft, pale light from the moon filtering through cracks in the dome above. Dr. Trent crouched by the Guardian's base, tracing lines of faintly glowing circuitry with his fingers. He could feel the pulse of energy, almost like a heartbeat. No scanner had detected it, no alien instrument had noticed it, yet it was unmistakable. "You're waiting for someone human," he whispered. "Someone who doesn't just see circuits, but sees the purpose behind them." Days blurred together as he worked. Unlike the alien researchers, Dr. Trent did not rush or force the machine. He explored its chambers carefully, mapping its pathways and nodes. He cleaned away layers of dust that had accumulated over centuries, reconnected worn conduits, and listened to the faint sounds of the Guardian's internal systems. Late one evening, as the chamber was quiet and the alien teams had left for rest, the Guardian responded in the smallest way. A single light flickered on its chest, pulsing faintly in rhythm with the hum Dr. Trent had felt all along. He froze, hardly daring to breathe. He had been expecting this moment, yet it still filled him with awe. "You're awake," he whispered, kneeling before the vast machine. Finally, the alien scholars rushed back when the light spread through the Guardian, illuminating the entire chamber. They gasped as energy rippled across its armor, and its towering frame shifted slightly as if testing its limbs after a long sleep. Dr. Trent smiled. It was never dead, he said simply. It was waiting. The Guardian's awakening sent vibrations throughout Lurkan. Ancient walls shuddered and the long-forgotten city seemed to stir with life. Cracks opened, releasing centuries of dust into the air, and a low, resonant hum filled the chamber. The sound was not mechanical, it was alive. The Guardian was not merely a machine, it was a sentinel, a protector, and it had finally recognized the presence it had been waiting for. The aliens could only stare, their instruments useless, their knowledge incomplete. All of their calculations, all of their technologies had failed where a single human's patience, intuition, and courage had succeeded. Dr. Trent rose to his feet and looked up at the Guardian. "We don't fully understand you yet," he said, his voice firm and calm. "But I promise, we will." He could feel the eyes of the Guardian on him, or at least he felt its awareness. Its systems were ancient, yes, but they were alive in a way that no sensor could detect. For 358 years, no one had been able to restart it. And yet, here he was, a human, small and young compared to the immensity of the Guardian, and he had succeeded. The first part of awakening was complete. But even as the light spread across the chamber, Dr. Trent knew that this was only the beginning. The Guardian's purpose, its true mission, remained a mystery, and the galaxy, which had long forgotten the power of humanity, was about to witness a truth it had never imagined. Outside the city, stars twinkled as if in anticipation. For the first time in over a millennium, Lurkan was alive again, and at the heart of it the Guardian waited, not as a relic, but as a being ready to reclaim its role, guided by a species no one had expected, humans. Dr. Trent stepped back, allowing the Guardian to rise fully. Its massive form moved with a grace that belied its size. It was powerful, yes, but not menacing. It was patient, calculating, and ancient. And it had chosen him. The alien researchers were silent. They had witnessed the impossible. They had seen history rewritten in moments that felt like eternity, and they realized with a mix of awe and fear that humanity had just begun a journey that no one, not even the oldest empires, could predict. For 358 years, the Guardian had waited, and now at last it had awakened. The Guardian's awakening sent ripples far beyond Lurkan. Across the galaxy, communications networks that had long ignored Earth now lit up with speculation and fear. Alien empires debated what it meant. The Council summoned its brightest minds. None could explain how a human, a representative of a young and untested species, had achieved what thousands of scholars had failed to do over more than a millennium. Back on Lurkan, Dr. Elias Trent faced the first real challenge of understanding the Guardian. The machine was awake, yes, but it was not yet speaking in any way that humans or aliens could comprehend. Its glowing symbols, once dormant, now pulsed in intricate patterns, forming circuits of light across its immense body. But there was no voice, no command panel, no recognizable method of communication. The alien teams had packed every scanner, recorder, and analyzer into their small ships, hoping to decode the signals. They were confident, arrogant even, that their technology could handle the task. But as they tried, the Guardian reacted, not aggressively but subtly, almost as if it were testing their intentions. Energy waves rippled outward, disrupting the scanners, making the machines useless. Every instrument failed. Dr. Trent, however, approached differently. He did not see a problem to solve with machines. He saw a being to understand. He sat quietly in the shadow of the Guardian, observing patterns, listening not to sensors but to subtle vibrations, sounds too faint for instruments to detect. Over the first few days, he realized that the Guardian's lights and energy flows were responding not to tools, but to him, his presence, his motions, his voice. "You're not broken," he said softly one evening. "You're alive, and you're trying to tell me something." Unlike the alien scientists who demanded results and measurements, Dr. Trent allowed himself to be patient. He explored the Guardian's lower chambers, narrow access tunnels that no alien had dared to enter. The space smelled faintly of ozone and ancient metal, and dust swirled in the faint light of his portable lamp. As he crawled through the corridors, he found panels hidden deep within the Guardian's chest, covered with symbols that seemed to move when looked at from the corner of the eye. He touched them lightly. A vibration, almost like a heartbeat, pulsed through his fingers. It was the same rhythm he had felt the first night. He realized the Guardian was reacting to life itself, not data. The pulse quickened whenever he whispered. "You've been waiting," he murmured. "Waiting for someone who can understand without commands." The alien scholars scoffed at his methods. One of them, a tall Varlakian named Reth, demanded, "How can you claim to understand it when you have no instruments, no analysis?" "We have centuries of failed research as proof." Dr. Trent smiled. "Centuries of analysis couldn't hear its heartbeat." "I can." By the fourth day, something remarkable happened. As Dr. Trent placed his hand on a glowing panel, the Guardian's chest began to shift, opening slightly to reveal a chamber of complex circuits unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Sparks of light traveled along metallic veins, forming patterns that resembled a language, but not one any known species recognized. The alien scientists panicked. "You're activating it improperly," Reth shouted. "You could destroy the Guardian." But Dr. Trent remained calm. "Or I could finally understand it." He noticed that the symbols were not random. They responded to his touch, to the pressure of his hands, to the rhythm of his breathing. Each gesture seemed to unlock a small part of the machine, a section that hummed with energy. Slowly, the Guardian's internal systems came alive in a cascade of light, revealing the sheer complexity of its ancient design. Then came the first sound, a low, resonant vibration, almost like a voice in a language that had not existed for thousands of years. The alien scientists scrambled to record it, but the Guardian ignored them. Its focus was on Dr. Trent. "You, human," the voice said, though the sound was more felt than heard. "You awaken, you understand." Dr. Trent froze. It was not words in a familiar sense. The vibrations carried meaning, intention, and recognition. Somehow the Guardian was speaking directly to him, not through translation or code, but through a connection that bypassed language altogether. "I can hear you," he whispered. "I can feel you." The Guardian's lights pulsed in acknowledgement. Slowly, deliberately, it extended one massive limb, pointing toward the chamber's center where a pedestal held a small, crystal-like object. The object vibrated in response to the Guardian, and Dr. Trent understood instinctively that it was a key, part of the machine's core control. He approached the pedestal, careful to match the rhythm of the Guardian's vibrations. As his hand touched the crystal, energy flowed upward into the machine, illuminating circuits and panels throughout its immense body. The Guardian's hum grew louder, filling the chamber with a sound that resonated in every corner. The alien scientists could only watch in awe. They had seen machines of war, stars of fire, and engines of impossible power, but nothing like this. It was alive, ancient, and aware. Dr. Trent stepped back, letting the machine adjust to his presence. "You've waited for someone, human," he said softly. "I don't know why, but I'm here, and I will help." The Guardian responded with a surge of light as if acknowledging his words. Its symbols moved faster, forming shapes that suggested understanding, curiosity, and recognition. Dr. Trent realized it was communicating not in words, but in concepts, teaching him in a way that no textbook ever could. Later that night, when the alien teams had withdrawn to their ships, Dr. Trent sat cross-legged on the chamber floor listening. The Guardian hummed around him, each vibration carrying lessons in balance, logic, and ancient knowledge. He understood the machine's purpose was more than defense. It was a guardian of history, a protector of civilizations, and perhaps even a guide for those who could continue the Vora-A legacy. The first days were spent in silence, broken only by occasional interactions. Dr. Trent had learned something remarkable. The Guardian did not recognize species by technology or intellect. It recognized adaptability, patience, and empathy. Humanity, chaotic and unpredictable as it was, matched the criteria in a way that no other race had. Word spread across the galaxy. Newsfeeds buzzed with reports of the human who had awakened the Guardian. Some alien scholars dismissed it as a fluke. Others feared it. For the first time, humanity was no longer seen as a young, inexperienced species. They were a species capable of achieving the impossible. Dr. Trent, however, focused only on his work. The Guardian had many secrets, and awakening it was only the beginning. He explored deeper chambers, discovering conduits that ran like veins throughout the machine, powering lights, energy shields, and systems that had not been activated for centuries. Each discovery answered some questions but raised many more. On the seventh day, the Guardian moved. Not violently, but carefully, its massive frame adjusting to a new state of readiness. It tested its limbs, its balance, and its sensors. It responded to Dr. Trent's movements, following him with a precision that seemed almost sentient. "You're alive," Dr. Trent said softly, awe filling his voice. "You've waited so long. But you're not just a machine. You're a bridge between times, between civilizations." And in that moment, he understood something profound. The Guardian had waited not for a perfect mind, not for the smartest scientist, but for one who could listen, understand, and connect. Humanity, with its flaws, chaos, and persistence, was the species it had chosen. As the alien researchers retreated to discuss their next moves, Dr. Trent realized that the real challenge had only just begun. The Guardian was awake, yes, but it was not yet fully operational. Its memory banks held knowledge that could change the galaxy, but to unlock it, he would need to build trust, patience, and understanding, not tools or weapons. He placed a hand on the Guardian's chest, feeling the warmth and pulse of energy. "I don't know all your secrets yet," he whispered. "But together, we will find them." Outside Lurkan, stars shone brighter than usual. News of the Guardian's awakening spread like wildfire. Rumors of humanity's newfound role traveled from system to system. Some feared the rise of a young species with access to ancient power. Others hoped humanity could bring balance to a galaxy that had grown complacent over millennia. But inside the silent city, Dr. Trent and the Guardian continued their quiet dialogue. It was a beginning of something new, a connection between human and machine, past and future, curiosity and wisdom. And as long as the Guardian waited, humanity had a chance to prove itself worthy. For the first time in over 1,000 years, the galaxy had shifted, and it all began with a single human who dared to listen. The Guardian had fully awakened. Its massive frame now glimmered with flowing circuits, lights tracing paths that no alien hand had ever fully mapped. But even in this new state, it was not merely a machine. Dr. Elias Trent could feel it thinking, testing, observing, not in words but in vibrations and pulses that spoke directly to his mind. The Galactic Council, alerted by the alien scholars on Lurkan, had convened an emergency session. They demanded explanations, plans, and assurances. A human scientist activating an ancient weapon, or perhaps a Guardian, was unprecedented. And yet, as their ships approached the city, the Guardian did not attack. It did not even stir aggressively. It waited, and it waited only for Dr. Trent. Inside the Guardian's inner chamber, Dr. Trent walked carefully among towering panels and glowing conduits. The energy that pulsed through the machine made the air hum. Every step felt like walking through history itself. The Guardian had existed for more than a millennium, and now it was alive, recognizing its place once again in a galaxy it had been built to protect. "You are the first human to truly awaken me," the Guardian's resonant voice echoed, vibrations carrying meaning rather than mere sounds. Others failed. Others could not understand. Dr. Trent nodded, feeling a mix of awe and responsibility. "I don't understand all your systems yet," he said quietly. "But I will, and I want to help. Tell me what you were made for." The Guardian's lights shifted, creating patterns that mapped to symbols Dr. Trent had seen in the outer hall. Slowly, he began to understand the message. The Guardian had been designed to protect the galaxy from threats that even the Vorai could not predict. Its mission was not just defensive, it was preservative. To guard knowledge, to guard life, and to awaken only when the right species arrived to continue the legacy. The aliens outside the Guardian's chamber were growing impatient. Council ships hovered over Lurkan, sensors trained on the ancient city ready to intervene if needed. But as they monitored the Guardian, they saw something no one expected. It was not hostile. Its energy flows adjusted when Dr. Trent moved, following his signals and ignoring everyone else. Inside, Dr. Trent explored further, reaching a vast circular chamber deep within the Guardian's chest. The walls were lined with panels, each etched with symbols that moved like flowing water. Holographic displays appeared as he approached, showing star maps, unknown constellations, and diagrams of planets long vanished. It was a library of knowledge waiting for someone to read it. The Guardian extended a massive limb toward Dr. Trent, offering him access to the controls. Unlike anything humans had ever seen, the interface responded to thought, presence, and intention. Dr. Trent reached out, his mind focusing on understanding rather than commanding, and the system opened. Streams of information flowed into his consciousness, not painfully, but with clarity. He realized the Guardian was teaching him, showing him the history of the Vorae, the wars they had fought, the knowledge they had hidden, and the mistakes that had nearly destroyed them. And then something unexpected happened. A part of the Guardian's memory, sealed for centuries, unlocked. It revealed a secret. The Vorae had not disappeared. They had transferred their essence into a seed of life, sending it across the stars to ensure their legacy would survive. That seed had grown into a new species, the humans. Humanity itself was the continuation of the Vorae's wisdom, hidden in plain sight. The Guardian had waited for this moment for 358 years, patiently searching for the species that carried the spark of its creators. Dr. Trent staggered back, trying to process the revelation.
We are your creators?
He whispered, or your successors? The Guardian's hum deepened, vibrating through the chamber like a heartbeat. Heirs, it resonated. Heirs of creation, human. Recognized. Outside, the Council's ships attempted to communicate with Dr. Trent. Their transmissions were formal, demanding the Guardian's surrender, expressing concern over its power, and warning of potential danger. But the Guardian ignored them entirely. It responded only to the human standing within its chambers. The Council panicked. They had planned for diplomacy, for negotiation, even for coercion. But their instruments, their weapons, and their commands were useless. They could not awaken the Guardian. Only a human could. Back inside the Guardian, Dr. Trent felt the machine guiding him. It showed him how to access its defensive systems, its history logs, and its network of dormant satellites that had waited for centuries for activation. With each lesson, he understood not only the technology but the purpose behind it. This was more than a Guardian. It was a bridge between the Vorae's past and the galaxy's future. Then came the first test. Deep in the Guardian's memory, a simulation appeared, a recreation of a threat the Vorae had faced long ago. Massive fleets, weapons capable of erasing planets, and alien forces seeking total domination. The Guardian asked no words. It projected the scenario directly into Dr. Trent's mind. You must learn, the Guardian vibrated. You must be ready. Dr. Trent nodded, focusing on solutions. He moved pieces, adjusted defenses, tested outcomes, and learned faster than any simulator on Earth could teach. The Guardian responded to each decision, adapting the simulation in real time, offering subtle guidance, and teaching the young human patience, strategy, and foresight. Meanwhile, news of the Guardian's activation had begun to spread. Pilots, explorers, and alien merchants transmitted signals of a massive energy surge from Lurkan. Rumors of humanity's newfound role spread across colonies and star systems. Some feared it. Some marveled. Humanity, once a minor player in the galaxy, had suddenly become central to its fate. By the 10th day, the Guardian's chest opened fully, revealing an inner sanctum. It was a room filled with consoles, crystal arrays, and holographic displays. At its center lay a pedestal with a glowing core, the heart of the machine. Dr. Trent approached, feeling the hum of energy radiating from it. This is incredible, he whispered. Everything the Vorae built is here, and it's waiting for us to use it wisely. The Guardian's lights flickered, pulsing in approval. For the first time in over a millennium, it recognized a human, not merely as a caretaker but as a worthy partner. The Council's ships hovered nearby, observing but unable to act. Their emissaries requested meetings, explanations, and access. Dr. Trent sent only one message back. The Guardian serves the heirs of creation. That is all. The galaxy was stunned. The term heirs of creation spread quickly, sparking debates, fears, and hopes. Humanity had become not just a species of curiosity, but a species carrying the legacy of a civilization that had once ruled the stars. Back on Lurkan, Dr. Trent continued his work, learning the Guardian systems, unlocking its secrets, and preparing for what was to come. The machine had much to teach, but it would only reveal its full knowledge to those who were patient, understanding, and willing to carry its legacy responsibly. At night, he would sit in the Guardian's chamber, feeling its hum, and imagine the stars beyond Lurkan. The galaxy was vast, filled with danger, mystery, and possibilities. And now, humans had a role they had never anticipated. a chance to carry forward the knowledge and responsibility of an ancient, long-lost civilization. Dr. Trent smiled. The Guardian was more than metal and light. It was alive, aware of him, and in that connection he saw the potential for humanity, not just to survive, but to rise, to guide, and to protect the galaxy in ways no other species could. For 358 years, the Guardian had waited, and now at last the galaxy was beginning to see the truth. Humans were not merely new arrivals. They were the heirs of creation. The awakening of the Guardian changed everything. The hum of its energy filled the ancient city of Lurkan, a sound that reverberated through the bones of the city and into the minds of those who dared to approach. Dr. Elias Trent had learned much in the days since the Guardian stirred. He understood its systems, its history, and its intelligence, but the deeper he delved, the more he realized that the Guardian held secrets even he could not yet comprehend. One quiet evening, Dr. Trent sat cross-legged in the central chamber, his fingers brushing over a smooth console that pulsed like living light. The Guardian's inner chambers were vast and intricate, a labyrinth of circuits and crystalline cores that carried knowledge and power from a time long forgotten. As he focused, he noticed a pattern in the lights, a rhythm that seemed to form words, though not in any language he knew. It was a map, a story, a history waiting to be understood. He followed the sequence, tracing lines of glowing energy that ran like rivers through the Guardian's interior. Slowly, it revealed a vision of the Vora-I civilization, alive with towering cities, ships that moved faster than light, and a society driven by curiosity, wisdom, and the desire to protect. But the vision darkened as he watched their final days, their world collapsing under a combination of internal strife and cosmic threats they could not control. Then came the revelation that would shake him to his core. Hidden deep within the Guardian's memory banks was a record of the Vora-A's survival plan. They had not vanished into dust or legend. No, they had transferred their essence into a seed of life and sent it to the stars. That seed had landed on a blue planet, Earth. Humanity was more than an accidental evolution. Humans were descendants of the Vora-A, carriers of a genetic and intellectual legacy designed to awaken when the galaxy needed it most. Dr. Trent's heart pounded. This means we are their heirs, he whispered. We carry their knowledge, their purpose, their responsibility. The Guardian responded with a surge of light, pulsating across the chamber. Its vibrations seemed to affirm the statement. Humanity was not just another species. They were chosen, unknowingly prepared over millennia to continue the work of a civilization that had once ruled the stars. Meanwhile, outside the city, the Galactic Council's impatience had grown. Messages demanding access to the Guardian had gone unanswered. Their fleets hovered menacingly, but their weapons, their orders, and even their most advanced technology were irrelevant to a machine that recognized only a human as its rightful controller. Council representatives, including Reth and several other alien scholars, arrived in person. They demanded an audience with Dr. Trent, insisting that humanity could not be allowed to control the Guardian alone. Their tone was firm, almost threatening. The Guardian's power is too great for one young species to wield, Reth said. We have studied it for centuries. You have no right. Dr. Trent raised a hand, cutting him off. I'm not claiming ownership, he said. I'm trying to understand. And it only responds to me because it knows I intend to learn, not to destroy or dominate. The Guardian stirred, sending a ripple of energy through the chamber. It seemed to grow taller, more aware, asserting its presence. The Council emissaries froze. They had never seen anything like it. No weapon, no negotiation, no threat could influence this being. Only Dr. Trent could communicate with it. As the days passed, Dr. Trent worked tirelessly with the Guardian, exploring its systems and learning from it. It showed him vast libraries of star charts, archives of technology, and warnings left by the Vora-I for those who would follow. He learned that the Guardian was not only a protector but also a teacher. Its purpose was to awaken the right species when the galaxy was ready for them, and humanity had met that test. One day, while exploring a section of the Guardian's core he had not yet accessed, Dr. Trent found something extraordinary, a holographic archive of the Vora-I's genetic data. It detailed the transfer process, the careful selection of traits, and the hope that their descendants would one day rise to take their place among the stars. The Guardian had preserved this knowledge, waiting for the heirs of creation to arrive. Dr. Trent realized the significance. Humanity had been unknowingly groomed for this role for thousands of years. Their instincts, curiosity, resilience, and adaptability were not accidents. They were part of a plan written long before humans walked on Earth. This explains so much, Dr. Trent murmured to himself. Why we adapt, why we survive, why we think differently from every other species. The Guardian's lights pulsed in response, a silent affirmation. It had chosen well. But the revelation did not come without consequences. The Galactic Council, alarmed by the truth, intensified its efforts to gain control. They sent emissaries to negotiate, to intimidate, and even to threaten. Rumors spread across star systems that humans had awakened a weapon of unimaginable power. Fear and awe rippled through every corner of the galaxy. Yet despite the tension, Dr. Trent remained focused on understanding, not confrontation. He knew that the Guardian's power was not meant to dominate but to protect. It would not act without reason, and it would not act against humanity or the galaxy unless it was necessary. During one session, the Guardian displayed another vision. This time it revealed the galaxy in peril, stars collapsing, empires in conflict, and threats lurking beyond the edges of known space. It was a warning, but also a call to action. Humanity's role was no longer passive. They were not just heirs. They were guardians in training, meant to rise and face challenges the galaxy could not handle alone. Dr. Trent felt a mixture of fear and determination. "We've been given a gift," he said, looking up at the vast interior of the Guardian. "And with it comes responsibility. We must be ready." He began to organize the knowledge the Guardian provided, mapping systems, documenting histories, and preparing for the day humanity would need to step fully into its role. Every detail mattered, every lesson, every warning. The Guardian's archives were immense, but Dr. Trent was determined. He was the link between the past and the future, the bridge between the Vorai and their heirs. At night, as he rested in a chamber illuminated by the Guardian's soft glow, Dr. Trent reflected on the enormity of what had happened. For 358 years, the Guardian had waited for someone who could understand, and in that time, the galaxy had grown complacent, unaware of the potential that humanity carried. Now, with the Guardian awake, humans were no longer bystanders. They were central to the fate of civilizations, the protectors of knowledge, and the keepers of a legacy that spanned stars and millennia. The Council's fleets remained outside Lurkan, unsure how to proceed. They could not control the Guardian. They could not communicate with it. All they could do was watch a young human and an ancient machine working together, preparing for a future they barely understood. And within the Guardian, Dr. Trent found something more. Not just systems and knowledge, but guidance. It taught him strategy, foresight, and patience. It prepared him to lead humanity in ways that no one had imagined. The heirs of creation were awakening, and the galaxy was about to witness a power it had never seen before. Dr. Trent placed his hand on a console that pulsed like a heartbeat. "I understand now," he whispered. "We are not just inheritors of knowledge. We are guardians. And together, we will face whatever comes next." The Guardian hummed in affirmation. It had waited 1,000 years for a species capable of understanding not just its power, but its purpose. Humanity had proven itself worthy, and as Dr. Trent looked out through the chamber at the stars beyond, he knew the galaxy would never be the same. The truth beneath the metal was clear. The Vorai had not disappeared. They had endured through humanity. And with the Guardian awake, their legacy would continue, guided by the very species that had unknowingly carried their spark for millennia. The Guardian's awakening had changed the galaxy forever. Lurkan, once a silent city of stone and metal, now thrummed with energy. Its walls glowed with the light of circuits older than any living species, and the hum of the Guardian echoed like a heartbeat through the ancient streets. Dr. Elias Trent stood at its center, the human chosen to guide the heirs of creation, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing gently but firmly on his shoulders. Outside the city, the Galactic Council had finally accepted the impossible. Humanity had done what no other species could: awaken the Guardian, the ancient protector built by the long-lost Vorai. Council ships hovered in orbit, their weapons inactive, their diplomats cautious. They could no longer treat humans as mere upstarts. Humans had proven themselves worthy, and the galaxy could not ignore them. Dr. Trent moved through the Guardian's inner chambers, exploring areas that even the Council's best scholars could not access. Each step revealed new wonders: star maps of long-forgotten systems, holographic archives of civilizations extinct for millennia, and blueprints of technology that could shape worlds. The Guardian guided him carefully, showing him not just what existed but why it existed, teaching lessons of balance, responsibility, and foresight. "You are ready," the Guardian's voice resonated, vibrating through the chamber and into Trent's mind. "The galaxy awaits your actions. Heirs of creation must rise." Dr. Trent nodded. "I understand. We are not here to conquer. We are here to protect, to guide, and to learn." The Council's representatives watched with a mixture of awe and wariness. The alien empires had long relied on their technology, their fleets, and their rules to maintain order. Now they faced a young species, humans, who had unlocked a power and wisdom they could not control. Some envied them. Some feared them. But all knew that the galaxy had shifted irreversibly. The Guardian, massive and glowing, extended its limbs, activating systems that had been dormant for centuries. Energy flows spread through the city, lighting up ancient pylons and towers. The machine projected holographic constellations and maps of distant galaxies. Dr. Trent realized these were not just displays. They were instructions, guidance for the heirs to follow, showing them where threats might arise and where knowledge could be found. For the first time, humanity had access to a network of information that spanned thousands of years and countless civilizations. And with the Guardian as their guide, they were no longer limited by their own short history. Days turned into weeks as Dr. Trent worked with the Guardian. He mapped star systems, decoded archives, and learned the delicate balance between power and responsibility. The machine was patient but unyielding. It tested him constantly, showing simulations of threats, environmental disasters, and conflicts that could escalate across entire galaxies. Each test was a lesson, each lesson a preparation for the role humanity would play. Outside Lurkan, the galaxy began to respond. Messages poured in from planets and empires asking for guidance, seeking alliances, or simply trying to understand what had happened. Humans were no longer observers. They were participants, leaders, and guardians in a way that no one had anticipated. Dr. Trent convened with a team of human scientists, explorers, and diplomats. Together, they devised strategies to use the Guardian's knowledge to protect vulnerable systems, share technology responsibly, and prevent the mistakes of the past from repeating. The young humans were cautious, aware of their new role, but their courage and adaptability set them apart. "Power without wisdom is dangerous," Dr. Trent told his team, "but knowledge combined with responsibility, that can change the galaxy for the better." The Guardian extended its influence beyond Lurkan, activating long-dormant satellites, energy shields, and communication networks. It sent pulses of light and information across space, ensuring that humanity's reach could be felt even in the most distant corners of the galaxy. Other species watched with a mixture of awe and trepidation. Some tried to challenge humans, but even the most advanced fleets were hesitant to provoke a species guided by a living sentinel older than most civilizations. For the first time, the concept of humanity as the heirs of creation became more than a title. It was a role recognized and respected by every species that had eyes on the stars. Humans were not conquerors, they were stewards, protectors, and inheritors of a legacy older than themselves. One day, while exploring a newly revealed section of the Guardian's core, Dr. Trent discovered an archive of instructions left by the Vorai themselves. It detailed how to maintain balance in the galaxy, how to prevent wars, and how to protect knowledge without dominating it. The lessons were clear. The Guardian was not a weapon, but a guide. And humanity's rise depended on understanding that power came with responsibility. Dr. Trent activated a holographic projection of the Vorai archives, showing it to a council of human leaders. "This is why the Guardian chose us," he said. "Not because we are the strongest, not because we are the smartest, but because we can learn, adapt, and act responsibly. This is our chance to change the galaxy for the better." As the weeks passed, humanity's reputation grew. Planets once forgotten began to flourish under guidance. Conflicts were diffused with knowledge and diplomacy, and alien species started to see humans not as threats, but as allies. The Guardians' influence ensured that mistakes of the past were not repeated, and that knowledge lost to time could once again benefit living civilizations. Yet Dr. Trent knew the journey was only beginning. The Guardian had much more to teach, and the galaxy was vast and full of unknowns. There were threats beyond the edges of explored space, forces that even the Vorai had feared. Humanity had awakened as heirs, but it was their courage, ingenuity, and unity that would define how they shaped the future. One evening, as Trent stood on a balcony of the Guardian's central chamber, overlooking the city illuminated by its energy, he felt a presence behind him. The Guardian had moved closer, its massive form filling the chamber with light and vibration. "You have learned much," the Guardian resonated. "But the galaxy's true test lies ahead. You, humans, are ready to face it." Dr. Trent nodded. "We are ready. Not because we are perfect, but because we choose to act, to protect, and to understand. That is what the Vorai wanted. That is what the Guardian waited for." The Guardian pulsed, and for the first time it projected a star map beyond the known galaxy, highlighting regions of potential conflict, hidden knowledge, and distant worlds that awaited guidance. Humanity's journey was no longer limited to Earth or Lurkan. The stars themselves were calling, and the heirs were prepared to answer. In the months that followed, humans established a new council, combining knowledge from the Guardian with human ingenuity. They advised neighboring civilizations, prevented disasters, and explored new systems. The galaxy began to recognize humans as leaders in wisdom, not just technology. And all the while, the Guardian remained at their side, a living testament to a past civilization and a guide for the future. Dr. Trent often reflected on the journey. For 358 years the Guardian had waited, and now, in the hands of a young human species, it had awakened fully, ready to help guide civilizations and preserve the galaxy's knowledge. Humanity had risen, not through conquest or force, but through courage, understanding, and a willingness to listen to the whispers of a machine older than time. One quiet night, Dr. Trent stood again in the central chamber, placing his hand on the Guardian's core. "We are the heirs," he said softly. "We will honor this gift. We will protect the galaxy, and we will ensure that the Vorai's legacy lives on, not as memory, but as action." The Guardian pulsed in agreement, the lights spreading across its massive frame. For the first time in over 1,000 years it was complete, not just as a machine, but as a partner in the future of the galaxy. From that moment on, humanity was no longer just a young species among many. They were the heirs of creation, a guiding force in a galaxy that had long forgotten how to hope. And under the light and guidance of the Guardian, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, as if recognizing that the galaxy's destiny had changed forever. The rise of the heirs had begun.